There's two types of people in life. There are savers and spenders. There just are. And you need to know right now, which one are you? And how do you know that? You know that based on the amount of percentage of the money you make that you save. And I want to say something to you. If you can't save money when you're broke, when you're making very little, you will not save money when you're making more. That's a fallacy. People say, well, once I make more money, then I'll save. If you can find a way to save any amount of money right now, build the habit, the pattern of being a saver. And I'm talking about when I was making minimum wage as a busboy at the Whole Enchilada restaurant. Yep, that was my job. I was a busboy at the Whole Enchilada. The very next job I had basically after that, I worked in an orphanage for $5.60 an hour. That gives you an idea of how old I am because that was minimum wage then. And in both of those careers, as a young person at 17 and 18 years old, and then I got the job at the orphanage when I was 21 years old after college, I saved money. Now, I saved $18 a month into a forced savings program when I worked at the Whole Enchilada, and I saved $20 a month when I was working at McKinley Home for Boys. But what happened was, that was money that I never missed, and it was forced savings, and it created a behavioral pattern in me when I was poor and broke that I'm a saver. And so what I went without the Starbuckses of the world. I made my own coffee. I brought my own lunch to work. These seem like very insignificant things, but what I was doing was ingraining in myself the ability and pattern of saving. So which are you right now? Are you a saver or are you a spender? Because you're one or the other. I've never been addicted to what kind of shoes I had, what kind of jeans I was wearing, the shirt I had. I was much more addicted to accumulating wealth. I got off, if you will, on showing somebody my mutual fund or my bank account statement much more than I did on what kind of car I drove. And I've always been that way. And I wasn't that way naturally. And I knew early on, I learned that I needed to establish this pattern of which one was I. And so ask yourself this. And by the way, you could be making a lot of money right now and you're not saving, or you could be making very little. A really scary thing is when two spenders are married to one another. I hope if you're married that one of you at least is a saver, and that if one of you is a spender, the saver has influence. But when two spenders are married, that is a formula for a lot of toxicity and a lot of stress. This idea that I keep hearing from so many people of get rid of all your cash, get rid of all your cash, is insane, right? Oh, it'll keep you hungry. It'll put pressure on you. Really? No, what it'll do is put stress on you. If you can't be hungry when you're saving cash, at what point does that end? Or do all your life do you just keep spending? Think logically about that. So you're supposed to get rid of all your money to stay hungry? Are you that unmotivated, that uninspired that you have to have no money or very little money to be hungry? There's not other higher purposes and callings that can keep you hungry in your business life? That's so stupid, but I keep hearing it. So stop that nonsense. Of course you should save money. Now there's a difference between saving and investing. There's a percentage of, now once you start to make money, you should have savings, which is just cash, and then you should have investments. And I'm not going to tell you where to invest your money. You'll make those decisions. Those are two totally different things. But I can tell you right now, like to this day, and I'm not exaggerating this, I add up like, what am I spending on my streaming services? What am I spending on Starbucks? What am I spending on DoorDash? What am I spending on Amazon? You should audit all of these things. Like, and by the way, if you're an addicted spender, shut out your Amazon account. Just shut it down. Right? But the amount of money people spend on frivolous things, silly things, like their DoorDashes or their Uber deliveries or these things that you could just go to the grocery store and save money, or all your streaming services, plus you still have DirecTV, plus you got cable service. This may not seem like a $8, $12, $20. This adds up to places you could save money. And again, it's that habit, it's that feeling that I love saving as opposed to I love spending. This is so counterculture what I'm saying right now. It's crazy to me that it is counterculture. But I've always felt like I have this huge advantage financially in my life because like I'm into that, not the other stuff. And then once I had enough cash, then I became an investor. And you can decide where you put that money. For you, it could be real estate. It could be the market. It could be CDs. It could be treasuries. I'd have no idea. And I'm not suggesting any of those things. Let me be very clear. What I'm saying is that you should have savings and then investments, and they're two different things. But I cannot begin to tell you how many times in my life that because I had some cash saved, I took advantage of different situations. When if you don't have cash, you can't, or you don't have investments, you can't. Now, secondly, audit where you spend your money. Do you have a budget every single month? You should have a budget. And the first thing in that budget, for me, is my tithing. If you're a person of faith, it's what you give to God's kingdom. It's the seed you plant. And again, if you're broke, that may be $5 in the hat at church when it's passed. I don't know. But it's some seed you're planting. If you have 100 pennies in a dollar, the first pennies go there. The second pennies, even if it's a small amount, go to savings. You pay yourself first. Let me say it again. You pay yourself first. That's after you pay God, if you believe in that. Okay? Next. Now you have your money that you live on. And then I would audit that. Where am I being wasteful and silly? And I got to tell you, it blows my mind. People say we're in a recession right now. I don't see that. I mean, maybe we are, but I got to tell you, I go to airports, they're full. They're packed with people, right? I see people using their credit cards at airport food and spending. Do you know how much it bothers me to buy a bottle of water to this day? I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I still cringe when I buy a $5.60 bottle of water at an airport. Yet I watch people who have no money frivolously spend it there. Still, it's like, oh, gosh, I can't believe I'm doing that. I still scrutinize things like that. I still don't feel great when I overspend on Amazon. I don't. I just cut out 3 streaming services. I'm not exaggerating this. Last week. I'm like, I'm not using this. This is $8 a month. I've watched it 3 times in a year. Right? It's $100 a year. That's silly. I could put that $100 somewhere else. I could give it away. So begin to really micromanage and audit where you waste money, where you spend money. What type of gas do you put in your car? I'm not kidding. What kind of car do you have? What's your car payment? What could you do with that? If the car payment was half and it was not as nice a car, what could you do with that extra $300 or $400, $500? And when you look up the rule of 72 and how money compounds, what could that do for you? So look at that. The next thing is your debt. Why are you spending money to buy things that impress people who don't care that you can't afford? Who gives a crap what they think? Why would you do that? Why would you put it at 15% interest or 20% interest on stuff that no one gives a crap that you have? To impress people who don't care, who are hating on you behind the scenes anyway, when that could be money you're saving or investing in your life. So stop using debt on depreciating assets. I bought my first new car, brand new car, this year, and I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Every single car I have ever bought was used. Every car. This year I bought a brand new Range Rover. First time in my life. Why would I buy something that depreciates the minute I roll it off the parking lot? How stupid. And then some of you finance this asset that's depreciating off the parking lot. What are you doing? So what's your financial habits, your financial routines, your financial disciplines? Consumer debt is horrible. Try to stay away from it. Even business debt, be careful with, or even debt on real estate. Doesn't mean it's right just because you got debt on it. And then there's just a certain threshold of debt that I don't want. I love cash. And so this notion that you should get rid of cash and cash is dropping in value because of inflation and all that stuff, there's some validity to that. And then it's also just wrong. Because when the economy changes, cash is king. And people that have cash. And by the way, if you want to get really wealthy, it's a bunch of cash. But it could even be that you are able to get different services or products on discounts when you have cash at your disposal. There's a security and a confidence that comes with cash. I'm convinced that the reverse is true. This lie that if you get rid of all of your cash, you'll be hungry, just creates more stress. I can tell you that my accumulation of cash gave me strength, gave me confidence, gave me comfort, gave me the ability to walk away from a deal or a table because I didn't have to have it every single time. Cash is still king. And I'm telling you, I still leverage debt as well. But this notion that you should have all this debt and no cash breaks my heart, because that advice works great when the economy is going up. All these people who tell you they get rid of all their cash and they're leveraged to the hilt and they're really rich right now, wait till those values come down and the equity isn't there. Or when their loan renews or their adjustable rate mortgage changes. or they just don't have any cash in life. And so I'm a big believer in cash. I'm a big believer in savings. I don't believe you need to make millions of dollars to become financially independent. You know, there's different levels of wealth. The first one is just to become financially independent. And financial independence just basically means that you saved enough money where that you don't have the necessity for your job. But ask yourself this right now. No matter how old you are, what if you went 6 months with no income? Can you live? Can you pay all your bills? Can you? If you had no income coming in, right? Do you have enough cash saved? Because by the way, some of those investments that you've leveraged, they can't be liquidated. So these people who have told you get rid of all of your cash, use debt to buy a bunch of assets, really? Well, what happens if that cash flow's not there? So ask yourself this right now. Can you go 6 months of paying all of your bills right now if you lost your job? How about 6 years? How about 60 years? So at some point in your life, you won't have a job at some age. What makes me happy is saving. What makes me happy is accumulating abundance and wealth so that I can give to the churches that I want to, or give to the charities that I want to, and take care of family when they need us. Listen, what's the likelihood of there not being a financial crisis in your family in the next 5 years? What's the likelihood of someone in your family not needing you for something? A medical emergency, a cash emergency, a tragedy of some sort. Just life. What's the idea? What's the probability the next 5 years there's no chance of that? How about the next 10 years? And so what if you found yourself with no cash and just a bunch of debt and assets at that time? You can't help them. You want to have more confidence and bliss and peace in your life? Have a pattern of being frugal. Have a pattern of being smart with your money. Listen to me. Show me a human being who is under control financially. Financially under control. They have disciplines. They don't give in to the temptations of immediate gratification. Show me a human being who shows me emotional control and discipline financially, and I'll show you a human being who's probably a pretty happy person. You show me someone who is out of control financially, but thinks they're going to get control over their emotions and their relationships in these other areas of their life, I'll show you a person living a delusion. How you are doing financially at every stage of your life is a reflection of how you are doing in almost every area of your life. And don't you dare say to me right now, hey, that sounds good, but I'm on minimum wage right now. I know it's very, very difficult. But if you could begin to, if you're a person of faith, just a little bit to your tithing, if you could just do a little bit to some savings, if it's $5 a month, $5, and you go, Ed, I don't have it. You do. You do. There's $5 somewhere. If you're employed, you do. Ed, I've got this many kids, this much. I know. I'm telling you, there's $5 somewhere to save. You go, well, $5 isn't going to amount to anything. Yes, it is, because it's a habit. It's a belief. It's a pattern. It's a routine. It's a part of who you become. I hope today helped you. I really do, because it was important for me to get this off my chest and to share this with you. I want your family and you at peace. I want you feeling like you're making progress. I want you to feel like you've got the right routines and habits and disciplines in every area of your life, including the financial area, because it won't just get fixed when you fix the other things. You got to address it right now, and it's fun to do it, and you'll feel better about yourself when you do this.